This is the 8th summit that our network has had, that we as an organisation of young leaders and our organisations from around the world have had. This is the first time we've actually had a Y8 summit. It's the first year where we've actually had 2 separate events for the G20 and for the G8. But for us as the Youth Diplomatic Service, it's a real thrill to be able to welcome not just G8 nations here, but also G20 nations. We're particularly proud that this is the first year that the African Union have ever been given their own delegation, so a special welcome is extended to you guys.
So I'm Nick Maxwell. I'm the head of state of the head of government of the UK delegation. All the UK delegation are chairing the panels for the various ministries and departments. So as UK head of government, I'm chairing the head of state panel, and we're responsible for bringing together the final communiqué in a kind of consistent and coordinated way. Some youth summits have their value for people practicing negotiation, seeing what it's like in terms of a normal real world negotiation where you're trying to kind of defend your country's interest. This is a bit different because what we're doing is bringing people together to share ideas and hopefully come up with really powerful policy recommendations. So it's a bit more like a think tank exercise. We've got really inspirational people from all around the world coming together around the table and sharing ideas, coming up with unanimous support for recommendations. So it's much more constructive than I think many other similar programs are.
I guess another word on the idea is the idea itself as an organisation is very young. It's not even a year old. In fact, it's barely 6 months old at the moment. It was the G8 and G20 Youth Summits Network before that. We've expanded, we've got new partners, we're continuing to grow. And I think it's worth noting that actually we're not even 6 months into our history as an organisation. This is already our 3rd event. And so we're going from strength to strength, and we're just really proud that you guys can all be a part of that journey. I'm going to read out a statement now that the Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs, the Right Honourable William Hague MP, was kind enough to give us in his endorsement of the Y8 Summit on behalf of Her Majesty's Government. I'm delighted that more than 200 young people from around the world are gathering here in London to attend this Y8 Summit. I'm particularly pleased that this summit takes place during the UK's presidency of the G8 and that it comes shortly after the historic G8 Summit in Northern Ireland. Deciding how to tackle the world's most challenging issues is not something that governments can or should do alone. Diplomacy can achieve a great deal, as this year's long-awaited agreement on an international arms trade treaty has shown. To make sure that continues, it is imperative that the next generation of political leaders make their voices heard. The work done by the Youth Diplomatic Service to encourage young people to involve themselves in international affairs is something that I wholeheartedly support.
I'm really enjoying it. It's been a really fantastic opportunity to really discuss the nitty-gritty of policies that we read about in the news every day. It's been a fantastic opportunity to swap ideas with people from different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds. It's been fantastic.
So how have you found the negotiations so far? Has there been any disagreements? Have you had lots of consensus?
We've had lots of baseline consensus. One of the things that we've been discussing is the disarmament of nuclear weapons, and there is obviously a consensus that this is a good thing. But what we found really difficult is reaching a balance between what's realistic and what's idealistic. So there's been a lot of healthy discussion, a lot of disagreement, a lot of contradicting ideas and policies, so it's been really challenging to pull together final recommendations that sit somewhere between being realistic but looking to an idealistic, optimistic future.
Coming from Brazil, I think this the opportunity to be in a UNESCO heritage site, it's quite amazing to have the actual negotiations, seeing like more than 150 people in a UNESCO heritage site. It's quite unique, and for the first time we're having the opportunity to gather in a cosmopolitan, huge, amazing city like London with so many bright and intelligent people. So it's a pleasure for me. It's something that I really recommend for the future for anyone that want to take part in the Y20 program.
The way the G8 is, the way the G20 is, we can see by the way these global infrastructures are shaping and changing every single year, they're having to become more inclusive. And that's what the Y8 is about, that's what the Y20 is about. It's about going past our comfort zone and engaging with people that aren't normally given a seat at a table, giving them a seat, giving them a chance to have that voice, and then letting them lead for themselves rather than us telling people how it should be.